to welcome in now NewsNation political contributor and former press secretary under the first Trump administration, Sean Spicer. Sean, thank you so much for giving us some of your time right now. First of all, what is your reaction to what we just saw there in the Oval Office?
Disappointment. This was an opportunity. President Trump made it very clear that he wanted peace. He wanted to put an end to this conflict, end the death, the killing, the destruction. And this was an opportunity for, frankly, a really great deal for Ukraine and for the United States. I would have expected a little bit more diplomacy and preparation from President Zelensky coming into this environment. It went off the rails quick. And I got to admit, you don't come into somebody's house asking for something and then, let it go off like this. I think it was a lack of preparation. I think he took a lot for granted coming into this meeting.
And Sean, this joint press conference that, traditionally happens when we see two world leaders or when we see any world leader come to the White House, we tend to see some type of press conference after their meeting that has since been canceled. What does that tell you?
Well, so just to be clear, what we saw, and Alex was, mentioned this, that was the Oval Office spray where they bring the press in at the beginning of their private meeting to exchange pleasantries and welcome each other and talk about, shared big picture goals. Obviously, we just watched President Zelensky drive right behind us on his way out back to the Hay Adams Hotel across from Lafayette Park. It tells me that, the presser is obviously set up after the meeting so that you can announce terms of some kind of agreement or progress that's been made. That's the traditional reason it's set up the way it is. Clearly, that's not going to happen, which doesn't bode well for an end to this conflict. Now, look, anything can happen. President Zelensky, as I said, is staying feet away from the White House across Lafayette Park here at the Hay Adams Hotel. So in theory, something can get done. But my understanding is President Trump, it's a Friday, was planning on heading out. Unless there's some change of heart from President Zelensky, I don't see this thing going well. And it's going to take a lot to pick this thing back up and put the pieces together.
And Sean, as you know, the U.S. has provided so much support to Ukraine in the form of weapons, in the form of billions of dollars. There are a lot of people that have pushed back on that. Does President Trump have a point, in the Oval Office there, saying that without the U.S., Ukraine has no cards, that Zelensky either needs to make a deal or we're out?
There's no question about this. If Europe could have been providing the support to Ukraine, it would be doing it. It can't. That's why the European leaders preceded President Zelensky here, both President Macron and then the UK Prime Minister Starmer yesterday, making the case that it's the U.S. that needs to continue to stand up, make a deal for peace, be the one that can actually go to Putin. This, to me, was two pieces of the puzzle that needed to come of a four-piece puzzle. You've got the U.S., our role, the Europeans, the Ukrainians, and then the goal was obviously to take a deal to Putin and to say, hey, Russia, we've got all this put together. You need to sign off. And that's where President Trump, I think, was going to have the leverage to go in as a deal maker and end this conflict, end the killing, end the destruction. I think President Zelensky disappointed not only his own people today, but a lot of people from the European leadership that have come try to put the confines of a deal together.
And there was some people saying that Zelensky had the advantage here because he was meeting with President Trump first. We saw what happened, Sean. We know President Trump is set to meet with Russia's President Vladimir Putin at some point in the near future. What do you think comes out of that meeting, particularly based on what we just saw today?
Well, as I said, Nichole, you saw at the beginning of the week, both with President Macron and then UK's Prime Minister Starmer trying to give some assurances as what Europe's role would be in a future peacekeeping mission and, additional financial support. So Zelensky kind of blew all that. So I don't even know that there'll be a meeting with Russia. If there is, frankly, Zelensky's lost the upper hand that he might have had in the deal by looking at President Trump saying, thank you for all the support that the United States has given us. Thank you for being the one that can go to Putin. Because it's not, look, Macron's not going to Putin. Starmer's not going to Putin. President Trump's the only one that can get a deal, the only one that President Putin respects. It was Zelensky who said that to him the last time that they spoke, that the only one that Putin respects is President Trump. So he just weakened his hand.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.